Okay, welcome everyone to another edition of Windsor's Court. I am your host, Alexis Windsor, here through Goodspeed Entertainment with Pro Wrestling 225. And I'm very happy to say that my guest today, none other than Brett Ian Landry, who is going to be our guest general manager slash host for the upcoming Fright Night show. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Quite an
Halloween is my favorite holiday. I'm so excited.
Your favorite holiday, did you say?
Oh yeah. I love Halloween.
Mine too. It's just fun fact, one of the reasons I was so excited about moving to America is because Halloween is my favorite holiday, and
Yes.
you guys just do it so much better than England. Sorry everybody who's watching back in England, but it's kind of true.
It is my favorite. I love horror movies and all things creepy and spooky and macabre. So being the guest general manager of 225's Fright Night is literally perfect for me.
Like a dream come true.
Yes, a wrestling dream come true.
Will you be in costume? Or is that a secret?
Good question. We'll leave that as to be determined.
Oh,
Come up to find out.
Okay, well, yeah, so wrestling audience out there, you need to get your tickets now then, just to see if we're going to potentially have our general manager in costume.
And how much costume or clothing I may or may not be wearing.
Oh my goodness.
Who knows?
Can't
the
even.
only way to find out is Pro Wrestling 225's Eventbrite and to buy tickets.
There we go. Just get that plug in. Okay, so let's talk about your general manager role then coming up. Obviously, the shoes, if that's the word to say, were vacated a little while ago. Obviously, the last show at the Mayor's Cup, we had Big Ramp, who was our guest general manager. Sure you have a lot of history with him.
A lot.
So how are you feeling, first of all? Obviously, we know you're very excited, but coming into the general manager role for this Fright Night show, what are your thoughts on that? How are you feeling?
Well, I've been the general manager for a couple of different wrestling federations over the years, and it's a role that I've always enjoyed. And I've enjoyed it not because of the power and control or anything like that, but it's because it allows me to be creative and to provide the best possible product for the fans. I will pass on my opinions of Big Ramp at the moment, but what I will say is that I have a tremendous amount of respect for Jordy. I think he has done an amazing job with Pro Wrestling 225, going from where their beginnings were to where they are now. They have made such huge strides in progress. And I know this isn't a permanent thing, but I'm going to treat Fright Night as if it were a permanent thing, and I'm going to make the best decisions that I can. And that's not just for the roster, but like I said, for the people, because they deserve great entertainment. And I like providing great entertainment because I'm an entertainer. And what better way to do that than to not only be the GM, but also be on the show. It's a two.
Yeah. Great. I think that's great and very professional of you, Melissa, I must say, about Big Ramp to just put that to the side.
So there's not a lot of things that I would be able to say about Ramp that other people probably haven't already said. And Ramp and I have had our words, and we will have them again. So we'll just leave him out of this one.
Yeah, let's leave that to the show. Obviously, we know he's going to be there. He's representing Gil, and let me remind myself who else. Definitely Gil. Purple Haze, of course. How could I forget?
I couldn't stop that, by the way. The contracts that Big Ramp Enterprises has in place are pretty complicated, and it's not stuff that I want to drill into while I'm just general manager for one night. So I just let it be. So couldn't get rid of Ramp on those shows or in those matches on this show. So we're just, like I said, going to let it slide. And if need be, I'll deal with him that night.
Yeah, I mean, as you're definitely bringing us as a professionalism to the GM role. What else do you think you're going to bring, other than potentially a costume, on the night?
Fairness.
Yeah.
And I don't mean fairness in terms of just generally playing fair and being professional, which thank you for the compliment, by the way. But I mean fairness in the sense of my team, the Overboys. Now, it's hard to be in a position of authority, and even if it's just for one night, and not be a little bit selfish or a little bit biased. So I'm going to very gently take advantage of that, as you may have seen with some of the matches that have been announced already,
Mm-hmm.
because right now the Pride are
Yep.
sitting at the top of my naughty list. So that will be dealt with fairly and accordingly come Fright night.
Obviously, I mean, I think we may as well talk about the Overboys now, as you brought it up. So it's a good, a good segment into that. I know you weren't able to be at the Mayor's Cup event last month, which we had. Obviously, the Overboys lost the tag team titles at that show. We talked about the Pride. And Jordan Jar wasn't able to be there, so Braxton Hunter had stepped in to his shoes to be Christian Blake's tag partner. So I don't know. Obviously, there's issues there with the Pride. You already mentioned that, so I don't know what your thoughts are on that loss. First of all.
Well, a couple of things. First, it'd be really, really easy for me to sit here and say that I blame Braxton Hunter for the loss. Yes, Braxton Hunter did take the loss, but I'm not going to sit here and blame him for it. Jordan had extenuating circumstances. He wasn't able to be there. Christian and Braxton, part of 337. He and Brandon Law were a tremendous tag team and huge rivals for Christian and Jordan. The Overboys had a tough time with 337.
Yeah.
Christian and Braxton know each other as opponents like the back of their hands. So if there was going to be anybody that could replace Jordan with 337 now on the shelf because Brandon's exit from the wrestling industry,
yeah,
who better, right? Christian and Braxton should have worked cohesively there.
Yeah.
I'll put a little bit of the blame on myself for not being able to attend and not being able to help strategize, which is part of my role as a manager at ringside.
Mm-hmm.
But they're grown men. They can handle it themselves. And on that particular night, be it underhanded or not, the Pride were the better team.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that in a general sense, the Pride are the better team, because I know that Christian and Jordan and even Braxton are better than Vladimir Koloff and Charles West.
Yeah. It's just what happens on the night sometimes,
It does, and that's okay, because that's the nature of the business. That's the nature of the wrestling business. That's fine. It happens. But let me talk a little bit about the Pride. The first time that Christian and Jordan wrestled Vlad and Charles, you know what happened? I wasn't there. And you know why I wasn't there? Because I'm packing my bags and I'm stepping outside of my home, and in my driveway, my vehicle has been vandalized. Every car handle on all four doors were smashed off, laying on the ground, and jammed into my car door was a little piece of paper, a little note. And I pull it out and I open it up and I took pictures of it. It's on my social media. Yeah. It says "Pride comes before the fall" with their little lion logo on it.
So they're not even trying to hide the sabotage.
Not even trying to hide it. They thought it was funny. They thought it was humorous and it was cute to stop me from being able to travel to the show by vandalizing my personal property so I couldn't be there to help my guys. Again, not that my guys needed the help, but the Overboys are a unit. We are a team. And the Pride is trying to dismantle that. They're trying to pull us apart. But that's okay, because like a lot of you have seen with some of the matches I've announced for Fright Night, it's okay if the Overboys are competing separately, because they don't need to compete as a tag team, which brings me to Christian Blake versus Charles West.
Yes.
1-on-1.
That is going to be
a
clash.
I think that match is going to be a barn burner. They're both incredible athletes, and I know Christian, and I know that he'll come out on top, and I know Chucky. And I know good old Chuck is going to try and find some underhanded, sneaky way to try and maybe he'll distract the referee, or maybe he'll use a foreign object, or maybe he'll grab the tights or the ropes. So I know all those dirty tricks because I've employed clients that have used those dirty tricks. You're not going to slide one past me. I've done it all. I've seen it all. I wrote the book. So I'm not worried about Christian and Charles, because I know Christian is going to win that match.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the Pride, we'll get to
Yeah.
Mr. Braxton Hunter here in a moment.
Yeah, Vladimir Koloff.
Yes, on the other side of the Pride with the old Russian monster there, Vladimir Koloff. Vladimir, he's come a long way in the last couple of years in his career. He's really changed up his look, his style, and he's done very well, but that has all gotten to his tiny little head, his little bitty Russian brain.
In that mask, in that red mask.
It's all, yeah, there's not a whole lot of space.
No,
there is a whole lot of space inside of that mask. The thing is, he thinks that he's better than he's ever been. And the truth is, yes, he is better than he's ever been, but he's not as good as he thinks he is. So if he claims to be this big brutish monster, I know a couple of big brutish monsters.
Yeah.
I've employed a couple of big brutish monsters, and at Pro Wrestling 225's Fright Night on October 30th, Vladimir Koloff is going to go one-on-one with Minotaur.
Yeah.
He is not faced a person like Minotaur.
No, that is a beast. That is a monster. It really is. Talking about Fright Night.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, how appropriate. What better way to teach Vlad his lesson than to force him to try and escape the labyrinth?
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, I don't think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I meant earlier about being a little selfish. It's just being fair, righting some wrongs, and kind of leveling the playing field.
So you're giving them some challenges.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not worried about getting the tag team championship back right this very minute. We'll do that when Jordan is good and ready. Yeah. For now, it's a little bit of tit for tat.
Okay. I'm glad you covered that, because I was going to ask that about, potential for a rematch for the Overboys. But you say that we're waiting on Jordan to be back in the throw of things, shall we say? Yeah.
When he's ready, then we will bring up whoever the permanent general manager is, or whoever is taking over whatever managerial day-to-day duties. When Jordan is ready and Christian is ready and they're back and we're good to go, then we will go after the tag titles again. But that brings me to Braxton. Yeah. So again, I don't hold anything against Braxton. I actually really, really like Braxton a lot. That is why I selected him for that other fun little match that I put together, that four-way that you may see.
Yes. Some great talent in there, like young, up-and-coming, promising talent.
Yes, it is a fatal four-way of Braxton Hunter, Wes Warren, Dale Springs, and Hunter Law. Now, Hunter Law is Brandon Law's brother, Brandon Law being Braxton Hunter's former tag team partner. So those two definitely have a lot of history. And I know that Braxton and Dale Springs have a lot of history as well. And Wes Warren is probably one of the hungriest and angriest young men I have ever met.
I'd class him as a bit of a wild card, really. I think I never know quite what he's going to do.
No. And the thing about fatal four-ways, they're inherently no disqualification. Yeah. You can't be counted out or disqualified in a fatal four-way just because of the metrics of the match. Yeah. So anyone could do anything at any time. And that's why I think it's so exciting. Pro Wrestling 225 has their Southeastern Championship, the SEC title, right? Yeah. Wink, wink. Yeah. And that SEC division is incredible. And it's only gotten better over time. SEC champ right now, Rhett the Threat. Yeah, he's got an open challenge, I believe.
Yeah, what was it called? An Elm Street Fight match.
Yes. So I was originally, just as a quick side note, I was thinking about making a championship match for him, but Rhett had messaged me after he found out that I was going to be the general manager, and he said he wanted to do something fun and something different. Well, like I said earlier, I like horror movies. Nightmare on Elm Street is one of my favorite. So I'm giving him a Nightmare on Elm Street fight.
Excellent.
And whoever wants to answer that challenge can, and is just going to go with it and go for it. So that'll be a blast.
Potentially the stuff of nightmares, literally.
Yes, potentially, yes. But to refocus on that four-way, that SEC division has a lot of young and upcoming talent, which I think is going to be really important to the longevity and the growth of 225, to get some of that fresh blood in there and to get some main event talent kind of bubbled up to the top because, you know, this business constantly shifts, it constantly evolves, constantly changes. So to get some fresh faces in there and have them prove themselves, that's really exciting to me.
Yeah.
And I have had personal interactions with all four of those men. And I know, even though some of them might be a little more unsavory than the others, I know that they have passion, they have heart, they have determination. And I love seeing that kind of hunger in young guys.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 11 years now, which I know is not nearly as long as some other folks have been doing this. But I've got an eye for these kids. And I just think that these four are some of the best in the area. And I want to see them slug it out. I want to see who comes out on top.
That's a great match then to put together when you put it like that. And I really think that the fans will enjoy that a lot. Okay. I'm thinking, you know, high energy, passion, determination, everyone hungry for that win, you know, for a variety of reasons. And I'm sitting down with Dale Springs later this week, and I'm hoping to be able to sit down virtually or not with the other three, you know, prior to the show. So I'm really interested to get their take on it and how they're feeling going towards that match for sure. It's really, really good. So who else? Let's think about what other matches. Let's touch on the other ones. You mentioned obviously Rhett's Open Challenge. I never know what to expect with Rhett. Sorry, that was my cat. Everyone saw my cat. Sorry about that. Show business, you know. Can't work with animals.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. So yeah, we have Rhett with an Open Challenge. I don't know. I don't know what to expect sometimes with those. Who knows?
And I love that. Like I said, he asked for it, and I'm more than happy to oblige because when you have that little element of surprise, that little element of mystery that anything can happen, that excites me. I like that. So let's do it. Why not? It's Fright night, baby.
Yeah. And then we have just in the order that I've got, finally the rematch between Corey Constantine and Purple Haze. Probably with Big Ramp in his corner. Obviously, at the Conflict in Acadiana show, we had a no-show from Purple Haze. Yeah. So Corey Constantine is finally getting his rematch on that. So that could be a very interesting one. There's a lot of history there.
This particular match isn't one that I went out of my way to set up. It's one that just logically needed to happen.
Yeah.
I've known both Perp and Corey for many years. They've had their differences. They've had their ups and downs with themselves and with me, for that matter.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm very disappointed that Perp allowed himself to be subjected to Ramp's manipulation. But I also know that Big Ramp Enterprises has pretty thick contracts. So again, I'm not surprised. It's just disappointing. I'm not mad. I'm just hurt.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to Constantine, I should start by saying that he's been a great champion for 225. But there are a lot of battles going on in his head. There are personalities at war with one another. And I don't think he's gotten that under control. And I think that causes his downfall more often than not. Having multiple people knocking around in his skull is not giving him a clear answer or a clear vision for anything. And I think that is going to harm him in the long run, especially in the ring.
Yeah.
Would I like to see him defeat Purple Haze to become the Pro Wrestling 225 champion again? Sure. Mainly on principle, because Perp doesn't deserve the title the way he has it.
Yeah.
And that's just being real.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked a lot about that in interviews with Corey and with Ramp, you know, the way that he won the title. So yeah,
that's just being real. But again, in fairness, because we've talked about fairness a couple of times here, also being real, I don't know if Corey can handle the pressure. And I don't want that phrase to be misconstrued, because I know that's going to be unpopular with some people that are listening here, and maybe even Corey himself, if he or one of him is listening. That's my point. Big Ramp is a problem in Pro Wrestling 225. Anyone that associates themselves with him is a problem in Pro Wrestling 225. Right now, the 225 heavyweight champion, Purple Haze, is associated with Big Ramp, which means he is a problem.
Yeah.
Corey Constantine, tremendous athlete, but too much happening here. There's a rock star. There's a pretty boy. There's a demon.
Yeah. Who knows how to describe
Whatever
that.
is happening there.
Yeah.
There's too much going on. Corey is nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Constantine, the man, is a vessel. And these three personalities just are knocking around, deciding to show their face on whatever random night at whatever time. They disagree with each other, much less with their opponent in the ring. The amalgamation, as I know Corey has called himself, has changed his career, but I don't know if it's for better or for worse. And at the end of the day, I think Corey Constantine needs to do what's best for Corey Constantine. And that's getting himself focused. And that's getting himself together by getting these other personalities under control. Because if he can't do that, he can't focus. And if he can't focus, he can't win.
Yeah, it's almost like depends how well those personalities kind of exist with each other, like symbiotically. I've just seen the new Venom, so that's kind of like where my brain's going. Very good movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
So like how they can coexist together and like which one comes out and how that plays, I think, and how easily or not I think Big Ramp can get in people's heads.
It'll be a huge factor. Ramp is a distraction enough as it is, much less with three different voices in your head. Now Ramp is the fourth one and probably the loudest.
Yeah.
It is going to be a tough task. Yeah. To say the least.
Yeah. But I think, like, regardless of that, I think it's a match again that I think the fans really want to see, especially after the no-show at Conflict in Acadiana as well. I think, I think the fans are really going to be behind that and excited to see that. Who's going to come out on top? I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Get your tickets. Come and see.
Right. Pro Wrestling 225 on Eventbrite. Only one way to find out.
And then we have, so the other match that's been announced, we can just touch on that, is Gil Gracie against Chase Matthews. So again, another big Ramp Enterprises focused match, shall we say. That's going to be a very interesting match, I think.
In a very similar way with Rhett, this wasn't a match that I just, put together. The challenge was made, and I want to see if Chase can step up.
Yeah.
I mean, Chase Matthews is a very interesting dude. I don't really know too much about him personally or professionally. I know that he's making his way through the industry. Yeah. Kind of starting from scratch after many, many years away.
And coming off a win recently as well.
Yes, and that's great. He seems to be on an upward trend, which is good. I would hate to see that upward trend cut off at the knees by Gil Gracie. Yeah. But he wanted the challenge, so he's going to get it. Gil Gracie is a very, very dangerous man.
Very dangerous, very physical. Yeah.
I would not take that lightly. What it seems to me on the surface is an excited and confident. I wouldn't call Chase Matthews a rookie, but someone who's very young in terms of restarting in the business, being very excited and very confident, and maybe just a little skosh in over his head by wanting to take on the lion that is Gil Gracie. I'm expecting it to be fun. I'm not necessarily expecting it to be pretty.
Yeah. I was almost, when I was, looking through the matches, almost like images of like David and Goliath in a way, in terms of like difference in stature and things like that. No disrespect to Chase Matthews, because again, I've seen him wrestle. He's a hell of a competitor, but
again, no disrespect.
The obvious difference between them.
Yeah, there's no disrespect at all. I think if Chase were to pull this off, it would be without a doubt the biggest win of his career.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and say that I don't believe Chase can pull it off, but what I am going to say is that Gil Gracie is not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
And especially, once again, that X factor of Big Ramp, it is going to be a very tall mountain to climb.
Yeah. Again, I say this with every time I'm leading up to a show, I'm always like, all the matches so great, the card is stacked, I'm so excited, and I
well,
think
thank you very much.
This show is no different. And again, you know, Halloween almost also my favorite holiday, so I think with all of that combined, I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, so, no, I'm excited.
So Brett, anything else you'd like to say to our audience, the 225 fans out there, before we conclude this interview with leading up to this show?
The last thing I'm going to say is that I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be the general manager, even if it's just for one night. I'm excited to get back with the Overboys, to see all the 225 fans. And Pro Wrestling 225 on Eventbrite is where you can get those tickets for Fright Night. So make sure you grab those and come see us, me, them, it, all of it.
Yes. Yeah, don't forget, get your tickets. Eventbrite, October 30th. Plaquemine, Louisiana. So back in Louisiana again. That's another thing to point out. But yes, so yes. We're back. 225 is back in Louisiana again.
That is true. It is pretty unusual for Pro Wrestling 225 to be running shows anywhere outside of the 225 area code, because it's a name thing. But hey, Mississippi was a great, gracious host for a little while there. But we're back home.
Yeah, really excited. I think it's going to be a great turnout. So everybody go ahead, get your tickets. Don't forget to check out 225 Facebook page, Goodspeed Entertainment. There's probably going to be things popping above my head that advertise this somewhere like this. Pow, pow, pow. Look at our YouTube page, Goodspeed Entertainment YouTube page. Don't forget to like and subscribe to that. Thank you, Brett Ian Landry, for being my guest today. I have been Alexis Windsor, and we will see you all soon. Thank you very much.